but it just didn't go. And so, and then, it kind of closed near the low. So I got out, I took my loss, that day. Obviously, it broke out on a Friday, or Thursday, actually. Yeah. So it came back. So I got back in. So another thing, that loss was hard to take, but then over the years, I also try to just brush that off. And if it sets back up again, my trade is again
The overall
valid.
setup was still valid. It was just the
Absolutely.
the
Even
entry.
better.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, so then I took that and yeah, so we can get into sort of what I traded was so it broke 356, 357. What I traded was the following week's 380 calls, and they were about $2, $3, I remember. And so here's I guess how I think about options where um I think if the thesis here is, okay, if this is a real Tesla breakout, we know it's going to move, 30, 40 points, just based on prior price action, right? And so if the stock is at, let's say 357 and the 380s for next week and the other pieces, and Tesla can do that in let's say, 8 days, right? Like a move, between three, I'd say 400 is very possible based on its history, right? So if the 380 calls for next week are three, and my thesis is correct, they go to 20, right? So that's sort of the strike selection process. Obviously, you can go closer to the money too, but so I chose those, and obviously even on day one got a pretty nice move. Day two, the options were in the money. I actually held some, not by day two, I would say 3/4 of my position was gone, and the options were already up probably 8 to 10x, just because of and that's the other piece, right? Because the stock moved in my favor like I thought, but then just the IV explosion, right? That happens adds to that juice. And then, that following Monday when it gapped up into the 420s, I sold the rest of my position. But by then those options were worth $40, like from $3, right?
Oh,
So I think, you know, all of the analysis was obviously at the underlying level, just like most of your guests and other speakers. But trading it through options